This is the Pro Wrestling Report, PrimeTime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, PrimeTime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time Knockouts Hall of Fame hardcore straight edge Divas champion.
Yes.
Hero.
You know, you clean up pretty well.
I clean up damn good.
I mean, I still have no clue what you were doing with my cake last week, but it got quite a few hits.
When are you going to pay your fine?
Fine.
Oh, yeah. You didn't hear from the office?
No, I did not hear from the office.
Fine, yo, tail.
For what?
You assaulted me and battered me.
Oh, my God, you were eating my cake.
I don't eat nor like cake. And no one's here to hear about your stupid cake. So let's talk about this week's WWE Raw report from this past Monday night.
Segment right here?
Yes, that segment right there.
Okay.
And Raw was headlined by the crowning of new tag team champions. Cody Rhodes, the endorsed Cody Rhodes, and Goldust are the new WWE tag team champions after defeating The Shield. And while they had a little bit of help at the end of the matchup from the Big Show, this match was tremendous in the way that they were clearly fighting for something. Not just Cody and Goldust, but the Shield. This match gave importance, at least for that night, to the tag team championships, and what a well-done match.
I mean, it was the last 25 minutes of Raw, and I could not believe how quickly the time went by. I looked, it was 10 o'clock. I'm like, well, I'm invested in this match. But you know what? There's a far bigger thing than them winning the big bronze Trojan pennies. It's the UNITY of an endorsed and a super friend now have gold or bronze.
Did you really just whip out Queen Latifah?
I didn't whip anything out. I just said.
It should be difficult to whip out.
Well, that's.
Who dat?
Yeah. But how about that? I mean, Goldust can still go.
Was there any doubt that he couldn't?
Well, if you think, for some, I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, the last time he was heavily on TV was 10 to 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. He looks to be in better shape today now than he did back then.
Here's what I'm waiting for, as Cody and Goldust are now the new WWE Tag Team Champions. I'm waiting for Cody to do what he did with the Intercontinental Championship and give those titles some luster back by bringing back the old Tag Team Championship belts. Why not?
Because they're too invested in these new belts.
Nobody cares about
the belts. It's on the toy line, it's the replicas.
And now it's an opportunity to sell the new belts, the old belts, in the same fashion. It's not even about the belts. It's about the great matchup this past Monday night and the fact that these two brothers are now tag team champions, and they had help from a man who has been, quote-unquote, fired from WWE, the Big Show, who I guess was giving them a bit of a payback for having to have knocked out their father a few weeks back on Raw.
The beauty of this match that we saw was the theory and in-ring psychology.
Do tell.
They told a story. It was ups and downs, peaks and valleys. You didn't know if the Shield was going to cheat to win, or if somehow the underdogs, the Rhodes boys, were going to, And even when the Big Show came down, the way the crowd erupted, everything was paced. The timing was perfect. And it's not very often, I can say, in the last several weeks, if not months, when Raw has ended, I was like, wow, that was a great ending.
Even though the beloved Cody Rhodes is one half of the tag team champions.
You know what? But Cody is on Team Super Friends, so it doesn't make a bit of difference.
Out of spite. That's the only reason he's on Team Super Friends, out of spite.
But as long as he doesn't lose the tag titles on a pay-per-view, I'm happy with that.
Speaking of pay-per-views, Hell in a Cell coming up in just 2 weeks' time. We found out that it would be a handicap match in Hell in a Cell, as CM Punk and Ryback will, CM Punk will take on Ryback, who will be teaming with Paul Heyman. This one to be held in the confines of Hell in a Cell. Seems as if finally Punk might get some time and get his hands on Paul Heyman. This as a result of Curtis Axel losing to CM Punk this past Monday night on Raw.
Interesting that they put Ryback in a Hell in a Cell with Punk when they had that match a year ago.
That's a whole year ago. The government was still open when they had that match.
But if Ryback can't beat CM Punk in a Hell in a Cell match with Paul Heyman to cause shenanigans, then CM Punk has to then automatically go to the top of the line and go for the WWE Championship.
Perhaps that will happen. I'm surprised this match, though, is in Hell in a Cell. It makes sense,
they had to.
But it is not one of the main event or championship matchups, as it'll be John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship at Hell in a Cell.
I don't think that is a main event match.
You don't?
I do not.
It's all about the return of Cena, not necessarily what's going to happen in the match.
I think the main event in this order, main event is Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, Punk and Ryback, Cena Del Rio. I don't think Cena gets a higher billing than those other two matches.
Well, we did find out about Cena's journey to return this past Monday night. They explained the injury and his recovery, and also asked the questions that we asked here last week about whether or not it was too soon for John Cena to come back. Now, I think a little bit of a follow-up to that is necessary, David, because John Cena has historically returned early from injury, and he's just such an amazing specimen that he heals very quickly.
You know, at first when I saw the reintroduction of John Cena, I'm like, oh, why are they reintroducing? Everyone knows who he is. But they told the story of the rehab and work he put in, almost to gain the sympathy from the audience.
Yep, absolutely. Overall, this past Monday night's WWE Raw, the 3-hour tour, you thought it was a pass or fail.
It was, because of that main event.
Cody did it for you, huh?
Goldust and Cody, new tag champs, made that 3 hours worth it.
Were you surprised that the Shield dropped the titles, dropped the straps, lost the belts?
No, not really. I mean, they've done everything you can do with the Shield.
Not everything.
What is left?
Oh, I'm not a booker. I don't know.
Oh, exactly. And they've done everything they can do with them.
That's this week's WWE Raw report. Let's talk a little bit about last night's Smackdown, which featured another knockout from Big Show after knocking out all 3 members of the Shield this past Monday night. This time, Brad Maddox was the victim as he got knocked out by the Big Show last night on SmackDown.
How does Big Show keep getting in the building? I mean, he's
he had
7
a promo
feet tall.
on Friday. He had to explain his actions of Monday, and Stephanie and Trips weren't there Friday night.
Where were they? Did you see, speaking of Raw, did you see the ring on Stephanie's finger?
No.
Okay. She's building a new house.
About an $8 million house, apparently.
$8 million in stock. She could have just traded in the ring. That's how big that rock was.
Really? That's how you feel about the sanctity of marriage?
It's a promise.
CM Punk takes on Big E Langston. After the matchup, though, Ryback and Curtis Axel levy a beating down on CM Punk, and Langston comes to the rescue. Does this mean anything for the future of Big E Langston, who we haven't seen on Raw or SmackDown?
They need to do something with Big E Langston, and from what I understand, he's far over as a babyface than he could have been as a heel.
Well, let's not forget, he's got talent.
He's very talented.
If you follow him on Twitter, you know that there's something in there. He understands the business and knows how to entertain, does Langston.
Well, and I think that's why the time has come to take him to that next level and make him a top babyface.
Speaking of Langston, clearly detached from Dolph Ziggler as of late. Dolph Ziggler this past Wednesday night on Main Event, David Hero, had a 5-star matchup with Dean Ambrose. And wow, just an absolutely fantastic wrestling outing from 2 of the best wrestlers and 2 of the best performers in WWE right now.
And it was on Main Event.
Yes.
Middle of the week.
On a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday.
Your problem with that is what?
Dolph Ziggler always has a 5-star match.
Not always.
Most
Sometimes
of the time.
It's 4.5.
You know what? He is the guy that steals the show. He really is.
And your girlfriend.
But damn, I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't.
Also on SmackDown last night, Daniel Bryan and the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Rhodes Brothers, Cody and Goldust, defeated the Shield in a 6-man tag team match.
Again, Daniel Bryan faces the Shield. Why can't they find somebody else for Daniel Bryan besides the Shield?
Well, they found him Randy Orton this past Monday night.
I get that, but it's either Randy Orton or it's the Shield or Randy Orton. Daniel Bryan needs something else in between.
I was very impressed with Randy Orton this past week, by the way. I thought his promo with Shawn Michaels on Raw was fantastic. I thought that he presented a believability. I loved when he said that the St. Louis people are just proving how stupid they are after trying to bring them into his court.
He did.
Being from
he
there.
got a great pop from
Absolutely.
them.
All right, well, that's last night's SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. We still have a lot more to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report, including yet another name. Can we almost say a new name announced for Blizzard Brawl.
Absolutely, yes.
Coming on December 7th. We've also got this week's Diamond of the Ring, DWHS, hot news, and the first installment from a new PWR correspondent, Arda Ocal, looking at Ryback and R-Truth. All that when we come back, right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
I went on down to the Audubon Zoo, and they all asked for you. They all asked for you. Well, they even inquired about you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. Thank you so much for joining us here on My 24 Milwaukee. And David, it's time to talk about this past Thursday's Impact Wrestling. Actually, matter of fact, I want to go back
talk
2
about
weeks.
Impact? You don't like talking about Impact.
It's the biggest show of the year coming up on Sunday. Didn't you know?
I've heard.
Let's go back 2 weeks, though. We hinted about it last week here on the program, but we didn't spend enough time on it. Dixie Carter cut an in-ring promo
The
live.
train.
And she mentioned some big names, including Mr. Stephanie McMahon Levesque, Vince, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff.
Vince Russo.
Yeah. Two of those people she hired. But here's the thing about that. While there was a day where that might have had some impact, no pun intended, nobody cared.
No.
Not a word on Twitter.
Well, you know why?
Not a word on any of our social media
People
channels
are
from
like,
any of you.
who's Mr. Stephanie Levesque?
The thing that really came out of it, though, was what she said 2 weeks ago to Hulk Hogan, which was reiterated again over the course of the last 2 weeks, is the Dixie train, David Hero. Now, what exactly is she talking about? And is there a caboose? Yeah, you're not going to answer that. I give them credit. This is new. It's a different direction. Dixie Carter is trying her dangdest. But I wonder if she is merely performing a role as opposed to being Dixie. Because she could probably get the same type of heat, if not more, just by being Dixie Carter. She could be this sweet Southern belle.
I just don't get it.
What don't you get? They need an authority figure because every wrestling organization needs an authority figure nowadays.
I get it, but I mean, Dixie explained the heel turn. Why? You had to, just
AJ set her off.
Right, but even like with Triple H and Stephanie, they still haven't explained why now they're always so angry.
You usually get that the week after,
You know,
or the next show after it happens.
You know,
you just hate it because it's TNA, don't you?
No.
You just dislike it. You abhor it.
No, not at all. I think it opens the door for Jeff Jarrett to come back.
Jeff Jarrett, who tweeted about Impact the last 2 weeks, which he hasn't done in months,
but he's
if not
also
years.
been at the last few TVs.
Yeah, we know that, yes.
And why wouldn't he come back to try to save the company that he founded?
I will
from
say this.
The tyrant.
From a man who was not at all a supporter of Jeff Jarrett when he dominated TNA Impact Wrestling before it was Impact Wrestling. I miss Jeff Jarrett
You miss
on
Karen.
Impact Wrestling. Absolutely.
Who doesn't miss
And him
Karen?
coming back would be good. A power struggle, the man who founded the company, the man who got pushed out, between him and Dixie Carter is something people can invest in. Right now, her versus AJ Styles or whoever it is that week, there's no investment there.
Not at all.
There's not enough backstory there. There's no real backstory
Once again,
there.
if Dixie doesn't want AJ to have a title match, take him off the show.
Mm-hmm.
Don't offer him money. Say, no, you're not having your match.
What makes money in wrestling?
Heat.
Emotion.
A good guy and a bad guy.
Jeff Jarrett?
He could be the cowboy in the white hat.
Dixie Carter.
She's the heel.
Duly noted. Well, with that in mind, let's go to this week's Diamond of the Ring. David Hero, take it away.
You know what, Damien? You are going to love this week's Diamond of the Ring because she is loved by you and so many, well, a few people. Dixie Carter, once again, has an amazing promo, gets the crowd to legitimately...
Hold on! Stop
What?
the show! What?
Absolutely.
You just went Congressman Cruz on us, Ted Cruz on us. You just said one completely different thing about Dixie.
Yeah.
And now you're honoring her
because
with the biggest honor you give each week on the show.
She's the only one that gets true emotion
Where?
on Impact. People legitimately don't like her. They're booing her. They
that
don't
was
want
not
to see
that
her.
kind of heat. That was a different kind of heat.
That is change the channel
Your
heat.
segment, I'll let you go.
Dixie Carter.
If you're going to do something like that, if you're going to hit
Robert
to left
Hack,
field.
Diamond of the Ring, the place where they pay I can't give it to Goldust and Cody again.
You can give it to whoever you
No,
want.
then I'll give it to myself. But Dixie Carter is this week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring.
Well,
you know what? No, you completely disrespected my segment.
I completely you completely disrespected your segment. You go from the highs of Cody and Goldust
Yes.
to the Dixie train.
Tell,
What does Michelle, Tamika, and Tanya think of that?
have they been on the Dixie train?
I think they can.
Well, we have a lot more stuff to talk about.
Including this week's event center. You know, Linda's out on assignment this week.
That's what
She's in Pittsburgh getting ready.
I thought she was in Canada.
No.
No?
Her visa's all messed up.
She has a MasterCard.
Welcome to the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. GLCW Blizzard Brawl 9 is coming up in just a few weeks, and it is promising to be the biggest event ever. In recent weeks, we announced that WWE Hall of Famer Ron Simmons and Ken Anderson will be making appearances at the annual event, and tonight, we are pleased to announce that the only man to appear at all 29 WrestleManias will also be appearing at Blizzard Brawl. Please join us in welcoming the new member of the Blizzard Brawl roster for 2013, Howard Finkel.
The Fink.
The Fink.
And he's part of the meet and greet package with
So you get to
Ron
meet the
Simmons.
Fink.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Ron Simmons.
Yes.
Damn.
Damn.
We're going to be announcing more names next week for the big event, and a portion of the Blizzard Brawl 9 proceeds will benefit the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and you can get your tickets now online at blizzardbrawl.com. We are also pleased to announce that the PWR team is coming to Pittsburgh for the 2014 WWE Royal Rumble, but we won't be alone. In addition to the live coverage of the Royal Rumble event, PWR will be hosting a special event with a special star. Big Sexy Kevin Nash is coming with us to Pittsburgh as part of the big weekend. All the details will be available at PWRshow.com, are available at PWRshow.com right now, and we will see you at the Royal Rumble. You know, I've never been to a Royal Rumble.
No? Have you ever been to Pittsburgh?
I've been to Philadelphia.
That's not Pittsburgh.
It's in Pennsylvania.
Yes, it is.
That's it for this week's events that are presented by Gruber Law Offices, and we'll see you at the matches. Still a lot more to come here, though, on the Pro Wrestling Report, including an in-depth look at TNA Wrestling's biggest event of the year, which is tomorrow night, Bound for Glory. Got this week's hot news. Arto Cal will be joining us as well, and more. But before we do that, let's go to this week's DWHS to find out what's on David Hero's mind. David, take it away.
TNA Impact Wrestling presents Bound for Glory from San Diego on Sunday, and this is my dilemma. TNA has their biggest pay-per-view of the year, their own WrestleMania or Super Bowl, and for some reason I don't feel the proper build-up. With the exception of Eric Young and Joseph Park driving across country to San Diego, TNA has yet to create any of their own buzz. I hate to compare apples to oranges, but when the WWE stages WrestleMania, they take over the city they are showcased in. TNA does not. I want to order BFG, but they have not given me a reason to invest my $40. Like the WWE, TNA will have a Hall of Fame where they will honor Kurt Angle. The WWE makes their event a black tie affair. TNA had to post the following on their website. October 19th, TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame banquet doors open at 7 p.m. in the Grand Ballroom in San Diego Marriott, Mission Valley. Attire: no shorts or flip-flops. Collared shirt for men. Preferred: 3-course meal included. Are you kidding? And with that, David Hero has spoken.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, the insurance company may try to stop you from getting what's fair.
After my car wreck, the insurance company tried to stop me from getting what was fair. I called Gruber Law Offices.
Be careful. Call us right away.
They better be careful. Now I've got Gruber Law Offices.
Call us. Let us get started on your case right now.
They green-lighted my case and got me $100,000.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Call 276-6666.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Hero on a Saturday night, obviously.
It is Saturday night.
Saturday night. You know, we should take this show to nightclubs and do like a Saturday night, late night live
Like a
show.
shotgun Saturday night?
Saturday. And we'll have the Flying Nuns on our debut episode.
You know, Linda.
With Brother Love.
You know,
as the,
I bet you Linda has the nightclub hookup for that kind of stuff.
we saw our Halloween special's coming up next week.
That's-
Is she going to be...
I don't know. No idea.
It's time for this week's hot news, folks. It's all the headlines you need in around 60 seconds or less for those of you keeping score at home. Former WWE Diva and TNA Knockout Lisa Varan will be appearing at Ring of Honor Glory by Dishonor in Chicago. Varan will be in the corner of Kevin Steen as he takes on Mike Bennett at the event after a segment where Maria Kanellis stormed out of the Squared Circle, which is Varan's Chicago restaurant, where she received, well, bad service. Her drink was wrong. Ring of Honor Glory by Dishonor will take place in Chicago Ridge on October 26th. Tickets are available right now at ROHWrestling.com. Tyson Kidd and Ricardo Rodriguez are working as a tag team under masks.
Whoa, really?
at WWE.
What happened to kayfabe?
The pair first worked together last week and then again
Los
this
Matadores?
week at the SmackDown TV tapings as El Locales.
Oh, the locals?
It is unknown at this time that this will lead to
A Canadian
appearance
luchador?
for the team. And that's it for this week's hot news. And now let's take it on over to our new correspondent, David Hero.
Do you think Natty knows?
I'm sure she does. Arda Ocal, who has this week's. How
do you spell that?
Arda, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. Happy to be contributing to Pro Wrestling Report. My name is Arda Ocal. The little things. I use it on Twitter a lot. You can follow me at Arda_Ocal. They matter oh so much in professional wrestling. They matter oh so much in WWE. The little things, the details, they just enhance your viewing experience or sometimes break your suspension of disbelief. Whatever the case may be. Paul Heyman is the master of the little things. On Raw, when CM Punk got to pick the stipulation, he walks up the ramp, undoing his tie in a huff. Great details there. He may not shave until Hell in a Cell. Notice that as well, because he's pensive, he's anxious, he's upset. He's done that before. I wouldn't be surprised if he let the walrus beard grow until Hell in a Cell. From Beat the Clock, though, I liked R-Truth bailing out of the ring early to slap hands with fans. It made sense. Him and CM Punk are buddies, so he wants his buddy to win the Beat the Clock challenge. Now, Ryback hits the shell shock later in the match. He pins 1, 2, 3. Characteristically, superstars will do this. He spins his body around 180 degrees, so his face is facing hard camera side. No problem. But in a Beat the Clock match, in a situation where time is of utmost importance, to me, it just doesn't make sense that that little detail be followed. I understand it's a production thing. I understand it enhances the whole production value, and that's what needs to be done so you can capture the facial expressions. But it's a Beat the Clock challenge. Every second matters. So to me, that was just a little detail that I noticed that took away from the match, as little as it was. And that's why it's called The Little Things. Some may call it nitpicking. I call it The Little Things. Look forward to this every single week. Follow me on Twitter at Arda_Ocal. And check out my work on the Baltimore Sun and Layfield Report. An interview with Fandango is on its way.
Thank you, Arda. Little 411 on Ryback and R-Truth. Two of your favorite people.
Do they have that in Canada, 411?
We'll have to ask Arda next week.
Gotcha.
But it is now time, though, to look at tomorrow night's TNA Bound for Glory pay-per-view. And big matchups, David Hero. Actually, the card looks solid for this show, and it's all
There's good
featured.
wrestling on this show.
It's all featured by a World Heavyweight Championship matchup as Bully Ray will take on the phenomenal AJ Styles. This match has been building ever since AJ won the Bound for Glory Series tournament, and now tomorrow we see who will become the World Heavyweight, or who will leave San Diego, the World Heavyweight Champion.
Angel Armani's in San Diego.
Is that right?
Yes.
For Bound for Glory, he traveled?
Yeah.
That's not a cheap flight.
Well, he got a coupon or something.
Bully Ray versus AJ Styles.
Going to be a great match. The last time they had their big pay-per-view match, it was Last Man Standing, I think it was, right?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Phenomenal match, great match. Both guys can tell a great story. Both guys can be very physical. But you got to figure Bully Ray's time is up. I mean, Aces and Eights has fallen apart.
What are there, 2 members left?
AJ Styles is now again the face of TNA Impact Wrestling.
Not if Dixie, your Diamond of the Ring, has anything to say about it.
Dixie's involved. It's just they need to have this show go off without a hitch, and we're asking a lot of TNA Impact Wrestling to do that. I really can't pick a winner. I mean, you got to believe AJ is going to win. Because if he doesn't, then where does he go? He's already been a defeated man, a broken man. He's already been, he's lost his smile and gone home, and he came back.
He found it again, though.
He did, but only because he won the Bound for Glory series. I just don't know if this is the right match to main event their biggest pay-per-view of the year.
If not, then what?
I don't know. Jeff Hardy?
Well, he's busy.
He is busy.
So you're saying AJ Styles is the new world champion come tomorrow night?
He is my favorite in a 55-45.
You're saying AJ Styles becomes the new world champion tomorrow
Yes.
night. Next matchup, it's the Icon Sting versus Magnus as the main event Mafia implodes a bit.
Interesting. Magnus, he's the young stud right now in TNA Impact Wrestling. Dixie Carter has gone on record saying that she is a big fan of Magnus. Sting is the old guard. Does he step aside and say, okay, since I've been here in TNA, I haven't made any one person. I haven't made anybody better. Does he do the honors and say, okay, Magnus, I think you could be the guy that could take it to the next level, the same way Ric Flair helped Sting become a bigger star in the late 80s, early 90s?
Is Sting undefeated at Bound for Glory? I believe he is.
I think he's just... The last time I think Sting has lost a match was against Bully Ray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure I'm wrong, but I mean, it's just been that long. They need to make this event special, and I don't know if there's enough build-up with Magnus and Sting to make this match special.
Well, if we go back to your DWHS from earlier on, you don't think it's special already. So
the
job is to make it special before the pay-per-view happens.
Well, exactly. And you know what? The go-home show wasn't really a go-home show. It wasn't.
Bobby Roode will take on the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. This match made 2 weeks ago.
This will be a great match. Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode, almost identical type of wrestlers. It's gonna be the best match on the entire card.
No doubt.
There's no doubt. And it's gonna be a nice tribute for Kurt and Bobby to have. Kurt, of course, going on the Hall of Fame tonight. He went in.
What's Angel Armani going to wear to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony?
Well, I'm sure I told him he can't wear his flip-flops and shorts. So.
Final match we're going to talk about here now, before we bring you a special preview episode on Sunday before Bound for Glory, is the Ultimate X matchup for the X Division Championship. It's Austin Aries versus Manic.
Samoa Joe.
Versus Chris Sabin versus Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. Who isn't in this match?
I wouldn't be surprised if Manic wins the match. It wouldn't, but here's my problem with that. You've seen Spider-Man 2 before, right?
I watched the first one.
When he was fighting Doc Ock, and they took his mask off on the train, and everyone saw Spider-Man without his mask on, and they put it back on him again. Well, now they all know he's Peter Parker. Everyone now knows what Manic looks like.
Do you say the same thing about Rey Mysterio, who was unmasked in WCW for years?
But he wasn't in WWE.
Correct.
Different. It's going to be a great X Division match. You got guys that are going to kill themselves, but it's a coin flip on that one.
Spot Fest.
It's going to be crazy. Yes.
Should be entertaining. We'll have the rest of the matchups. There's several other matchups, including there's a big pre-show on Spike TV.
Are you going to spend $40 to order this?
On Sunday, on a very special edition of PWR Sunday, coming up at noon at pwrshow.com and on YouTube. And I must, due to my journalistic responsibilities. That is all we have for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next week for our very special Halloween edition of the Pro Wrestling Report. For that one, this is Damian Nelson saying so long, everyone.